Pope Francis says when it comes to end-of-life care, treatments should always be based with human dignity in mind. His message came during last week's World Medical Association meeting on end-of-life questions. The meeting was held in the Vatican and in collaboration with the Pontifical Academy for Life. The conference addressed complex issues surrounding end-of-life care and the moral and ethical questions they raised. Dr. John Qian is a professor of Christian ethics at Georgetown University. He is also a member of the Pontifical Academy for Life and joins us now from Rome. Thank you for being with us.
My pleasure.
Dr. Keown, give us the highlights from this conference on euthanasia that took place in the Vatican.
Well, there were a number actually. There was a very interesting panel discussion featuring the head of the German Medical Association, the Swiss Medical Association and the Dutch Medical Association. Those countries have different laws in relation to euthanasia and assisted suicide. There was also a very fascinating closing panel discussion in which people at the conference were allowed to ask questions of the panel or make their own comments. So there was a very frank and fruitful exchange of views.
How much of a priority is this specific topic, euthanasia, for the Pontifical Academy for Life?
I think the whole question of end-of-life care is a priority for the Academy, and the Academy, although it's very clear that it maintains the Church's fundamental opposition to euthanasia or physician-assisted suicide, nevertheless is very concerned to promote palliative care, because palliative care is basically absent from many countries in the world, which is an international scandal. And even in developed countries like the United States and the United Kingdom, there are serious deficiencies in the provision of good palliative care to many people. So it's an inequity, and in many ways it's a scandal that so many people are allowed to die in pain and suffering.
We've been closely following the case involving Belgium's Brothers of Charity, with Catholic hospitals offering euthanasia, though the hospitals may soon be stripped of their Catholic identity. How pervasive is this threat of euthanasia even to our Catholic institutions?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, clearly there is the argument that Catholic institutions should have nothing to do with euthanasia or physician-assisted suicide because it's clearly fundamentally incompatible with the teachings of the Church. So it's very difficult to see how a Catholic institution could possibly be involved in euthanasia or physician-assisted suicide, but as we know, some of them are, so it's a great concern.
I know Pope Francis addressed the conference. What was his message?
Pope Francis sent a message that was read out by Cardinal Turkson, and I think he made the following important points. One is that modern medical technology is so advanced that it is now possible to maintain life, and even when that is not promoting the overall good of the patient. So where treatment is disproportionate, then the Church is clear that there is no obligation to maintain those treatments. So treatments can be either futile or excessively burdensome, and it's always been the Church's view that those treatments may be withdrawn. Whereas at the same time, one must be careful never to intend the patient's death, because that would be euthanasia, whether by act or omission. And also, even when one has withdrawn treatments or there are no treatments available, it's crucially important to maintain one's care and love for the ill. The Holy Father mentioned that when we're confronted with suffering, there is often a temptation to abandon patients, and we should never do that. He cited the parable of the Good Samaritan. We should always care, though we should never kill. And finally, a point he made, in which really explains, I think, the Pontifical Academy's involvement in this WMA conference, was that we should try and promote shared solutions through a process of open dialogue, recognizing the diversity of views in the world, the diversity of religious beliefs, while nevertheless being very firm that the law should always maintain and protect the fundamental equality of every human being, especially the weakest.
Dr. John Qian with Pontifical Academy for Life, thank you.
Thank you.